This family monument is remarkable for a number of reasons. The pink granite and the polished orb make it stand out from the surrounding gravestones. The monument is also noteworthy because it includes two family names, Bogardus and Tenbrook, which are both of Dutch origin. The uncommon last names led me down a research path that revealed details about the life of Dinah Tenbrook. Tenbrook's life was fundamentally affected by the delayed process of abolition in New York State. Tenbrook was born in 1812 in the Hudson River Valley's Ulster County. Many Dutch families had immigrated to and settled in that region in the 1600s when it was known as New Amsterdam and still a Dutch colony. Dinah's mother, Rose Tenbrook, was enslaved by a Dutch-American family. Historical records indicate that some people enslaved by families with Dutch ancestry, including noted abolitionist Sojourner Truth, spoke Dutch. Others also worshipped in the Dutch Reformed Church. Most Dutch-American New Yorkers opposed abolition. Dinah lived most of her life in the household of slave owners Jacob Bogardus, born 1784, died 1859, and Anne Broyne Bogardus, born 1793, died 1865. You'll notice their names on the grave memorial adjacent to Tenbrook's. In the 1830s, the Bogardus family moved to Lansing, New York, where they bought a 200-plus acre farm near Cayuga Lake. Dinah moved with them. Dinah Tenbrook's status as a free citizen of the United States was determined by New York's history of gradual emancipation. In 1799, a law was passed that set terms of phased manumission for people enslaved in New York State. Coincidentally, the gradual emancipation law was signed by white New York State Assembly Speaker Dirk Tenbrook. According to the law, no enslaved person would be granted their freedom in 1799. However, all children born to enslaved mothers after July 4, 1799, were considered free. However, these technically free people were forced to serve as indentured servants until they reached the age of 25 for women and 28 for men. According to that law, Tenbrook was born into freedom, but as a child of an enslaved woman, she would have been required to work as a servant until 1837. When New York State made slavery illegal on July 4, 1827, one of the last of the northern states to outlaw it, Dinah would have been about 15 years old. Census records show that she worked as a servant for the Bogardus family for most of her life. She never learned to read or write. Although never a slave in the eyes of the law, Tenbrook had been taken from her parents and never saw them again. She never married or had a family of her own. The Ithaca Daily Journal printed a lengthy memorial statement for Tenbrook after her funeral in 1903. The newspaper article's paternalistic tone is difficult to stomach for today's readers. It used phrases that valorized Tenbrook's enforced service, yet it also revealed the harsh reality of family separation under slavery. The article notes that the Bogardus family considered Tenbrook a part of their family. She also was reportedly a respected member of the Lansing community. Yet the article noted that, quote, during all those years she has never returned to her home, nor but once, and that many years ago, seen any member of the family. Tenbrook had to hear about the death of her mother through a visitor. The news was delivered well after Rose's death and shortly before Dinah herself died. Only last autumn, noted the article, a relative of the family, visiting in Ithaca, drove to Lansing purposely to pay Dinah a visit. It transpired that Dinah's mother, Rose Tenbrook, to the astonishment of all parties present, was a family servant until her death in the family of the lady caller. It was touching indeed to behold Dinah's controlled emotion when she was told that her visitor had known and loved and attended the funeral of Dinah's mother, the mother she had never known. When Jacob and Anne's daughter Jane Bogardus, born in 1818, died in 1893, she left a bequest of $500. That's about $17,000 in today's dollars. She requested that the money be used to set up a monument for her father, mother, and herself on Jane's burial plot in the Klein Cemetery. Less than a decade later, Dinah Tenbrook died, and her funeral was held in the parlor of the Bogardus home. Her coffin was draped in roses and other flowers. In death, she was included in the Bogardus monument purchased by Jane's bequest. The monument is marked with classical symbolism typically used on Christian graves. The orb represents a celestial body and the concept of a heavenly destination after death. Tenbrook's name is carved on a raised tablet with a tip pointed heavenward, flanked by palm leaves that symbolize eternal victory over death itself.